says it's going. Let's
It
see
says,
what it does.
it says live on Facebook on my end.
Okay. Tell me if we are.
Man, hope so. Hoping for the best.
It looks like we are.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm excited because hopefully it's all technology and it's all working. And this is the fun of COVID-19. But I'm really excited. I decided to do a little experiment called Spotlight on Small Businesses. And I decided, Ariana, you were my first guinea pig, as they say. But really, I really wanted to talk to you first because the bottom line is, here's the secret. And that was, I was always afraid to walk into your store. And I don't know if I even ever shared that with you, but I really was afraid to walk in your store. And I wasn't ever a big shopper. And there was that intimidation factor that really everybody should know is ridiculous. And I'm just going to lay it out there right now. If you've ever been intimidated to walk into a store, stop it, walk in, and you will find out really quickly that that is in your own brain. That especially when the shop is owned by small business owners, nobody will care about you more than a small business owner. But the bottom line was that I walked in and I was so well taken care of. And the bottom line is that your family runs Rear Ends. They have for how long? Take it from here. Tell me the history of your family and the business.
So it's been 42 years. My parents started the business together when they'd been married for a year. This is how they celebrated their first anniversary, was with opening the store. And that's always been their motto, is customer service comes first. So it's everyone leaves the store as an advertisement for the store. So you get to decide whether they're good or bad. And my parents have cultivated this beautiful community in Rear Ends over the past 42 years that people really feel like family. Shopping at Rear Ends should feel like shopping with your sister or your best friend or someone who will be truthfully, totally honest with you, because that's it. That's all you want, and I am the worst judge of clothes on myself when I'm shopping elsewhere. So it's like, and you never know what you're going to get for a salesperson. What I always pay attention to is what they tell other people. And if I think they're being honest with other people, that's what I tell all the girls that work here. Honesty first, a one-time customer who never comes back. That's not what we want. We want someone who comes and keeps coming and eventually becomes part of this family and the community that my parents have built here.
Well, I think that that's what you get in this community. I don't think that we're so different than other communities, but I think that one of the things that we saw during a pandemic like no other is our community really stood up and collectively supported one another. And it's really one of the reasons I'm looking forward to these Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've reached out to obviously my own clients, but more importantly, I'm reaching out to people who aren't my clients because I'm so impressed with our community, our small businesses. And now, the governor has said, we're reopening, we're going back to work. And the truth of the matter is that my clients and so many others, they've been working and, they never stopped working. And I remember on the Saturday where things were starting to really take a shift, it was March 13th or 14th. It's all distant memory. But I walked into the store and your mom was there and we hugged each other because, maybe we didn't know better at the time, but we started talking about how things were going to be different. And sure enough, they were. And, at that point, what do you feel that you had in place at the time from a technology standpoint that you thought, okay, we're good, and then quickly realized that maybe you had to sort of change gears and pivot really quickly to service not just your, well, first your employees and then your customers?
So everything changed at the very beginning. In that first week, I tried to plan out like a week in advance, and that quickly shifted. And by the second week, so the week of the 16th, which is when we went to family only, we made the difficult decision to furlough all the employees for traffic, for safety, for every reason. We, at that point, we decided we had to make our decisions for the next day at the end of that day. And I think that really served us in not planning out so far forward. We were thinking about everything and thinking about what we had to do. And as far as technology, I mean, we had nothing in place. We are brick and mortar, low tech. The blessing of shopping at Rear Ends is the customer service. You can buy our clothes other places, but you don't get us other places. And so trying to shift to online and throwing our stuff on the internet, well, that's not really it. That's not what you're getting. So I utilized Instagram as much as I could. I mean, I was charging my phone several times a day, but started posting things on Instagram, doing virtual appointments, having people reach out to me. Finally, I've been sharing my cell phone number for years and years, and people are always like, oh, I don't want to bother you. It's not a bother. If I can't answer, I say I'll get back to you the next day. And so taking requests. And it was interesting because I would be in the store early. I'd be in the store from 10 to 3 in the beginning. And in the end, I landed on 11 to 2, which was the best juggle for me to get work done and be a mom. And so I would post what I could in the morning. And then the requests would come in all night. I would just sit with my kids and I would sit on the TV and I'd have my notebook. And by the time I walked in the morning, I'd have 10 or 15 requests. And I would get through them all and work it that way. And we started a link for gift certificates online, which I never actually got on the website until last week. But, things like that, they happen slowly. That's not who we are. And now we adapted once we could to booking appointments online. Everything's been slow because honestly, I'm not an online presence. I want to see you. I want to see your touch. I want to get the feeling, but we made it so the people who wanted to support us could support us. I've never been as busy as I was these last 10 weeks.
I said that all along. I think that all these small businesses, and you included, nobody has worked harder. And you guys worked hard before. And I have watched all of these businesses take their businesses into their dining rooms, take their businesses, from 2 stores down to 1 store, because in your case, I know, looked at your mom and dad and said, you're not going out of your house. You can do things from home, but I'm going to handle it. And that was, your choice in working, but you wanted to make sure your parents were safe and healthy. And I think that, I would say, I know some of the lessons I've learned as a PR person for my small businesses, where I had said, all of you need websites. But, even in a small business, it's hard to manage a website. It's a financial kind of situation, but also just keeping the stock on the website. And a lot of people, and you just said it, you want to see your customers. You don't want to be the big box shop online. But I think that in this situation, some of the technologies that had they been in place might have been more helpful. So you adapted a little differently by having Facebook Lives, pictures, shop by Instagram. I think, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you first is I had called you and I said, all right, let's try this. And I can't tell you that it's going to work. It could be like the biggest nightmare ever, but you're going to stand in your store and you're going to show clothing and we're going to do it on Zoom. And I have no idea what that's going to look like. And I was like sweating during the whole thing. And you had over 100 people.
That was insane. It was better than anything I could have ever anticipated. I think we adapted and grew in a way that felt really true to our brand. And, you're always talking about branding and our brand. And that's it. Everything was personal connection. People jumped on the Zoom, which to me was better than doing a Facebook Live or posting an IGTV video. because it felt more organic, that I could see people. I could see a couple faces in my screen. Questions could come in and I could answer them like that. It felt a little less like a lecture. And that first Zoom went an hour and we didn't lose engagement. We only gained engagement. I couldn't have been more surprised at how many people showed up, their attention spans to stay, how long it lasted, and the interest. You know, people really wanted to shop, and the other people really wanted to support local. From the very beginning, this started, and the hurt was felt locally and the fear of what was going to happen to our local institutions. And I really felt that customers in this area, I don't know about other places, but they really wanted to support their community stores. And so jumping on the Zoom was a way for them to do that. And it was great. It was fun. And the best thing about that was people found things that I wouldn't have necessarily pulled for them. If you had texted me, I want this and this, I would have pulled you from your description what I thought you were saying you wanted. And that would have been great. And you would have found things. But from the Zooms, people were like, I really like that. And I never would have guessed it. And maybe they never would have requested it. So it was a way to kind of walk around the store together and shop like you were in the store when you couldn't be.
And I have to say that it was engagement. And I think the other thing was that there were all these people coming together and that wouldn't have been together. Or maybe they would have been like at a evening at your store, but it was just at a time also that people got to see one another. I know that, you know, there's this, we're reopening, but you've been open. So let's talk about that a little bit. What, so people know, what is your continuing, I'll call it, opening look like? What are you doing now?
So thrown for a little bit of a loop again yesterday with the announcement that we could reopen. We haven't decided yet what that's going to look like. We're still appointment only and individual appointments only this week. We're in Bloomfield Hills and starting Thursday in West Bloomfield. People can book appointments on our website, shoprearends.com, or they can call the Bloomfield Hills store 248-480-0460, and they can book appointments that way. Next week, I'm not sure, to be honest. I want to get feedback from our customers. What are they going to be comfortable with? Do they still want to do appointments for another week? Do we want some appointment hours? So I'm delaying in making my decision what next week is going to look like until probably Thursday or Friday of this week. Also, our staff hasn't been brought back yet. They are all a little bit hesitant about what it's going to feel like, the anxiety of coming back, of being around people. You know, I've been around people this whole time. I've been doing curbsides. I've been doing porch drop-off. And if you haven't been doing that, there is a barrier to entry. So we're trying to figure out what's the most comfortable for everyone. You know, I know eventually and through the summer, I will probably stick with some appointment only hours, some general hours, and we'll change what days and times appointments are available depending on need and demand and everything like that. I want everyone to feel comfortable shopping. And so if there are people that are only comfortable shopping by appointment, then I am obviously going to accommodate that. Just have to figure out how to get the word out to everyone else. And the other things, we're saying masks required in the store, because that's how we're most comfortable. That's how I think most people are most comfortable. And even the people who think it's unnecessary, I know they have a mask in their car to go to the grocery store. So throw on the mask. We'll all get through this. I'll keep the air conditioning up really high.
I think, you know, I think that's another benefit of shopping local and shopping within your community and what makes it unique, which is why I've always been such a huge proponent of keeping things within our local, because, you know, really you're saying, I want you back in my store, and how do you want to come back? And you have that luxury of doing that and accommodating your customer to feel well and feel good in your store, which is really the truth of the matter, is that it goes back to what I said from the beginning. I didn't know I could wear the jeans and look good, you know, and I can. And that means that I can put on my mask and I can, you know, go find my pair of white jeans that are going to look good on me. And, you know, I can make the appointment, or I can go with my daughter or my best friend and feel comfortable again. And really, you're right, ease back in, because, you know, I've talked to a lot of people about, do I want to go sit at a restaurant? Do I, you know, how quickly do I want to just swing open the doors? And I think that, you know, we all want to, our heart wants to, not necessarily our brain right away. And that's, you know, to me, what's so unique about, you know, being able to, in our community and other communities around the country, to really shop local. You have the added benefit of being part of a family business during this time. And this is, you know, really my last question to you. What have you learned most about being in a family business during this time?
It was really hard to be away from my parents, to be perfectly honest. I don't
Well, you
think
know me, I keep asking to be adopted.
I don't think I take my parents for granted, and I don't think I take the time we spend together for granted. I don't think I ever have, but I also don't think I know how much I needed it, you know? But it's the instinct. It's, when does it switch? When do you go from the parent protector to the child protector? We are currently in butting heads about who is the protector of who right now. But it was the right decision to have my parents out of the store and keeping them safe. And still, I mean, my mom just turned 70 yesterday. My dad turned 69 2 weeks ago. They don't look it, but they are in an at-risk age demographic. So everything still has to stay as sanitary as possible. And we have to keep up with what is best for everyone, because yes, I'm in a family business and everyone who works here is family and our customers are family. So that's why the safest environment possible. I am not a CEO sitting on high, not caring and only worrying about the bottom line. The bottom line matters, but the safety of this community, the survival of this community, the survival of local businesses, and the survival of families, that's most important. So it's navigating that, and it's not making decisions too quickly. And it's really nice to have my parents in the store again and have my dad continuing to call me at the least convenient time every single day, no matter what time he calls. But I love it, and I always answer.
Well, I can't tell you that I am excited to make an appointment. I told you, with my daughter being home, we probably will come together. You know, I always say I can't choose between my children of my clients, because you know, my clients are my family. I spend more time with them up until recently, as my family is home. But you know, I often walk in the store and say, are you adopting me yet? Or can I just be like the sister that nobody, you know? But we
already have a sister and nobody knows. Siri, I just want to say thank you to you for being such a champion of small business and so supportive, and just a listening ear through all of this. It's been so appreciated to have an outside ear that I could just pick up the phone and be like, because I definitely did that a little bit in the beginning. So thank you to you.
Well, you know, I would do anything for small business and family business. That's how I grew up, and it takes a lot for me to go on Facebook and show my face this way, but so I'm stepping outside of my box, which is why I made you be the first. Because you know, you and I always go back and forth about social media and everything, but I really, you know, I care so much about our community and small business, and I'm dragging others into this platform because I really want them to tell this story, and I care so much about your family, and they've been around a long time. Everybody is going to be fine. I've adapted this new motto of pivot and keep moving, because I do believe that we're going to be okay right now. Some things are going to happen again. And, you know, I'll be damned if we don't, and we're not prepared every time, you know, and you've been amazing, you know, for everyone who does know you and doesn't know you, to have done this and be a mom of 2 small children, and bake challah. on Friday. You know,
Yeah.
it's been incredible to watch and keep watching. And I know because I've gotten messages from your employees that they feel very loved, and they're excited to come back and be safe, you know, and your customers the same thing. So it's gonna, you know, just keep evolving as everybody keeps coming back. And the great news is that you're welcoming everyone back in your way.
Yeah.
So
And the other thing is I want people to know, everybody to know, that like if there's something you need to be more comfortable, let me know. We're all figuring this out together. We all see things a little differently while trying to do things right. And so what I see as right may not be what you see as right, but I am all ears as we go through this next step.
I think that's so important too. Even my own kids said to me, you can't, this isn't a judgment zone where your friends are having 12 people over versus 10 versus 5, you know, you can't. And our stores are going to do things differently. And,
Yeah.
you know, your customers are different than another customer on the boardwalk. And so that's what's, you know, unique about being a small business.
I will say it has been amazing having people back in the store and sensing their smiles under the mask, but you can see it through the eyes. And it is just, it's been good. I do what I love. And so having people fitting them, doing this in real life is better than getting pictures from their closet. I'm just happy to be back.
I know. I sense that with you. My love to your parents. Well, we need to get your dad. We need to get your dad on social media. That'd be a hoot, right?
Yeah, and maybe. I'm gonna leave it with a maybe, and we can end on that.
We'll have him do the next Zoom shopping.
Oy vey.
All right. Well, we'll see everyone. Stop by Rear Ends, visit their Facebook, their Instagram.
And book an appointment on our website.
And book an appointment on their website for sure. They are there to accommodate how you want to shop. And please shop local.
All right. Thanks
Ariana.
All right. Bye.